Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today on the channel we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a draped overlap skirt. I'm going to be using a miniature measurement, but I'm going to be mentioning and telling us the measurements you're going to need it for a big size. So if you are cutting for a big size, just go ahead and follow whatever I'm saying and ignore the small piece of paper I'm going to be using. Here I have 4 pieces of pattern, 2 front pattern, then I have 2 pieces for back pattern. We need 2 pieces for the front because it's going to be an overlap, so we are going to be drafting the 2 separately before placing it on each other. Either you are making a straight overlap drape skirt or a mermaid overlap drape skirt, you are still going to use the same process. The only difference is just that instead of drafting a basic skirt block, you are going to draft a mermaid skirt block. Mind you, when you're drafting the front skirt, make sure you draft on fold. It has to be on fold. You're going to draft your basic skirt pattern just like this one that I have here. I have the waistline, the hip line, the knee line, and the skirt length. If it's going to be a mermaid, you're also going to have all of this. Here I have the front piece. I have 2 of it, and I'm going to be working on each of this pattern one after the other. Then I also have the back piece. I have a tutorial on how to cut and sew a mermaid skirt and how to cut and sew a basic skirt with box contour. I'm going to be linking the videos in the description box. Kindly check it out. As you can see, the skirt has a slit. You're going to decide on which side you want your slit to be, either the right or the left hand side. So here mine is going to be on the right hand side. If you look at this picture very well, you see that one side is a bit wider than the other. The one that is on top is a bit wider than the one that is underneath. So we are going to start with the one that is underneath. Starting your pattern, make sure you add your sewing allowance immediately on the waistline and by the side, just to make things easier when you want to cut on your fabric. From the waistline, you come down by 7 inches. I'll be using cm for this because it is a smaller measurement, but if you are working with a bigger measurement, you are going to come down by 7 inches from the waistline. Come to the knee line. Exactly from the center, you measure 4 inches inward. You go in by 4 inches like so. Then you're going to measure the 4 inches from the knee line down to the skirt length, then you connect with a straight line. From these 4 inches, you're going to connect back to the 7 inches you have at the top. You can either use a curve ruler. If you have a longer curve ruler, you can make use of it, and if you do not have, just go ahead and use your freehand. Because this one is a small piece of paper, that is why I'm able to use a curve ruler. It is advisable you start with a pencil, after which you are okay with your line. Then you can now trace it out with a marker pen. After tracing out, then you can now cut it out. So this is one that is going to be inside. So remember that we have the curve from here, so the shaping is going to be the other way around. Remember, it's going to overlap each other. Now this particular one is going to be the one that is going to be on top, and it's going to be a bit bigger than the first one. First one we measure down to 7 inches from the waistline, but this one we are going to start from the hip line, or we are going to stop on the hip line rather. Then on the knee line, you find the midpoint of the knee line and you connect straight down. You use the center of the skirt as a guide for this particular one. The first one we went in by 4 inches, but this time around you are not going to go in by 4 inches. You're just going to maintain the center line of the skirt. Then you're going to connect with a curve back to the hip line. Then you cut it out. So once you are done with that, you're going to place the 2 on each other, and as you can see, it overlaps and the slit is on the right hand side. So if you want yours to be on the left hand side, that means you're going to do it the other way around. Okay, so now that you're done with the normal drafting, to now form the drape, we are going to use the method of slash and spread to achieve our drape. And as you can see in the picture, the drape is exactly on the one that is on top. You also need to note what side is the draping coming from, if the drape is coming from the left or from the right. Okay, so this one is coming from this side that we cut off. So for the slash and spread method, you are going to draw lines from this side to the other side. The line does not have a specific measurement. You can just decide to use inches of your choice to draw the lines, as many lines as possible. When you're working with a big measurement, your lines might be as many as this, but because this is a smaller paper, the lines are not going to be as much as that. As you can see, this is what I'm going to be working with. So after which you draw your line like this, then you can now cut through the lines that we have. So that is the slashing method. You slash, you cut through the lines that you drew earlier. And when you are cutting, make sure you do not cut totally, except if you are doing the two-sided fullness for your slash and spread. But that's not what we are going to do today. I just want my fullness on one side. Do not cut off, but make sure you cut very close to the end, about 0.25, okay, so that it will be easier for you to spread. And that is where the spreading method comes in. So when you are spreading, you decide on how many inches you want to use in between. It might be 1, it might be 2, it might be 3, depending on how much more fullness you want. So now I'm going to be placing this piece of paper underneath. You can place this directly on your fabric. After slashing like this, you can spread it directly on your fabric, or you spread on a piece of paper like this one that I'm doing here. Okay, any which way that is convenient for you, just go ahead and do it. Then as you're spreading, you secure it with a tape. You tape it down, you take the measurement you want in between, and you keep taping it down, just like you see me doing. So you start, it's either you start from the top or you start from the base, any which way ever. So you first tape the first one, you tape the first one like so. After taping the first one, you measure the interval, you measure the inches you want to use for the interval, either 1 or 2. You measure it, and wherever it stops, that is where you are going to place the second piece. Then you tape it down again, then you continue like that till you finish all of the lines. Okay, I just hope you understood the way I explained it. After which you have taped it down, you're going to have something like this. It's definitely not going to be a straight line. After that, you will now fold in like so. It's either you fold or you just cut off, but it's better you fold before cutting, just to assume this will help you get accurate amount of fabric, because you are assuming that you are sewing it already. So if you fold it like this, trace it out, it's not going to give you a straight line by the time you open it up. Just like the way we used to have this triangular shape when we close our waist dart or we close our bust dart, that's what is going to give us. So it is advisable for you to just fold this way and cut it out. So whatever you cut out is what you're going to transfer to your fabric. So guys, after cutting out, this is what I have, and then the second one is going to be underneath. Then the back pattern is just going to remain the same. Then you're going to use it to cut out your fabric. I already cut out the fabric. I'm going to be using 2 different type of color. Then I also cut the back. The back is going to be 2 pieces, while the front also is going to be 2 pieces. So this is what you're going to have, and as you can see, the side, it has a bit of zigzag by the side. This is the essence of folding. So if you want to fold, by the time you fold your fabric, you're going to have accurate measurement by the side. There will be no shortage or one side being longer than the other. So now, having done that, I'm going to separate this pattern from the fabric. Then before you remove your pattern, the point where your pleats will start or end, you fold it and you notch that point. It's either you fold and notch, or you mark it either using your chalk or your pen. So here I'm going to notch that point. You see the point where I have the brown paper? I'm going to notch it, so that when you want to fold, you use the notch as a guide. You place one notch on the other, and that is how you're going to get your accurate measurements. So I'm going to separate the pattern now, and we're going to work on the front piece before the back piece. So guys, this is what it's going to look like. One side is definitely going to be wider than the other. So when you want to fold, you place one notch on the other, place one notch on the other like so. You secure it with a pin, or you iron it. If you have an access to a pressing iron, immediately use your pressing iron to keep it in place, to give it a crease line, so that you have a guide when you want to sew, or you secure it with a pin like this. Or better still, you just take it directly to your sewing machine. As you're folding the pleat, you just stitch it down. So this one, I'm going to take it to my sewing machine to stitch down the pleats. When you're done with the pleat, it's going to look like this. So you're going to place it on each other like this. So you're going to place it on it. As you can see, it's now stopping on the hip line area, and the length aligns. It's definitely going to align, because we just only tamper with the side, not the length. Before you stitch both sides, secure the cuff parts that you've traced or cut out your shaping from. After this, you're going to stitch on both sides just to hold the two pieces together. And as for the back, you join the zipper allowance area and fix your zipper. Then the next thing is to place the front on the back, right side facing each other. Then you're going to take the side seam, whatever allowance you had for the side seam. So guys, this is what it's going to look like. Then you can now open up the zip area. There's no need of opening the slit because there's already a slit at the front. Decide on whatever you want to use it for. So if you want to make it into a dress attached to the upper part, it's going to be a skirt, secure the waist. That'll be all for today's tutorial. Thank you very much guys for joining, and do not forget to like this video, give it a thumbs up, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my next tutorial. And if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, kindly do so now. Drop in the comment section your video request, suggestion, observation, or whatever. Till we meet again in my next one. Bye bye.